I have been a morbid, obese, 140 kilo man for 20 years.
My God.
And all the health problems of the world. Twice I lost 30 kilos and twice it came back.
Ram Kapoor lost his weight from 140 kgs to 85 kgs in just 18 months. But did he use Ozempic for this? Today in this video, we are going to break down how Ram Kapoor lost weight in just a small span of 18 months. Did he use Ozempic? If he did, how did he do it right? How did he use it in his favor? And we are also going to find out different diets like intermittent fasting and other diets with low carb diet or vegan diets, how people lose weight on these diets or how people fail to lose weight in such a small span the way Ram Kapoor has. We will also see that why people with intermittent fasting or other diets are not able to get such results in such a short span. So let's get into the video.
I now eat twice a day. Once between at about 10:30, 11 in the morning, and then at about 6:30 in the evening.
Was he just ate two meals? One meal at 10:30 a.m. in the morning and the last meal at 6:30 in the evening. You know what 2 meals a day does to your body? It does something very beautiful. First of all, it acts as an intermittent fasting because you're not spiking your blood sugar again and again. And here I want to give a really nice example because this is not a new fad, this is not a new trend. This is something that is going on since ages, since the ages of our grandparents and their parents, because I remember my grandparents having their first meal at 10 o'clock, which was their breakfast, but it was not like a breakfast. They used to have proper roti, sabzi, rice, full meal, which was like a lunch, and then they would go to work. And at work they would not eat anything because their breakfast was almost like their lunch, so it was a full meal and they wouldn't need anything after that. And when they came home, which was around 5 o'clock, 5:30, they would eat their meal, which is their last meal, which is also their dinner, at 6:30. You know what happened here? Early dinners happened. In the morning when you're eating a full meal and going to work, your blood sugar is stable. It's not very low or it's not very high because you're having a complete meal. You're having your carbs, you're having your protein, you're having your good fats, you're having your salad. It's a complete Indian thali, right? So it is not going to spike your blood sugar. At the same time, it is going to give you sustainable energy throughout the day. So you're not going to feel hungry in the daytime. And when you come back, you are going to be hungry at around 5:36, but that's when you have your dinner, another full proper meal. And what this will do is this will set the right tone for intermittent fasting. When you eat your last meal at 6:30, you're technically eating 3 to 4 hours before sleeping. So when you sleep after an early dinner, so when you have a gap of 3 to 4 hours between your last meal and your sleep, you get a really nice, good quality deep sleep, which is very much needed for a healthy blood sugar balance, also for your cortisol, for your stress hormone, and also for inflammation in your body. And your last meal is at 6:30 and then you sleep and next meal is at around 10:30. This is a 16 hours intermittent fasting without trying too hard. If you're someone who doesn't know how to do intermittent fasting, all you have to do is first start with just 2 large meals a day. If you're someone who is used to having 5 to 6 meals a day or eating every 2 hours, start with 2 large meals and 1 snack. That will be easy, right? So you can have 2 proper meals and maybe 1 snack right in between. That will give you sustainable energy. It will take care of your hunger pangs. So when you are having just 2 to 3 meals in a day, what this is going to do is it is going to prevent your body from spiking your blood sugar level again and again. So there are processes that is called as gluconeogenesis in your body, which is a part of a metabolic process that happens in your liver. What is gluconeogenesis? It is basically your body tapping into your fat stores for that extra glucose. What this also means in simple terms is your body itself becomes a fat burning machine. You naturally start burning your stored fat, which you have gotten from excess calories before. So when you're eating 2 meals, after 2 to 3 hours, your blood sugar starts dropping down. When it starts dropping down, it starts needing more glucose for the functioning of your body. That is when your cells, your body is going to tell your liver, listen, I need more glucose. And through the process of gluconeogenesis, your liver is going to tap into your fat store extract glucose from it, so that is going to melt your fat, and that glucose, that sugar is going to come into your bloodstream, and this is how you lose weight during intermittent fasting. There's something more interesting that happens during intermittent fasting, or when you're eating fewer meals in a day, that is called as autophagy. Autophagy is basically cleaning and sweeping off all the dead and decayed cells in your body, and when these cells are removed from your body, naturally your body starts looking younger. There is increased secretion of growth hormone, which also makes and benefits and contributes to your anti-aging process, and all of this is going to give you great energy levels, great immunity, and reduced inflammatory levels. So these are all the things that can go right during intermittent fasting, but there are also a lot of things that can go wrong during intermittent fasting, because I meet many people who have failed at intermittent fasting, who don't do well with intermittent fasting, and who have in fact put on more weight with intermittent fasting. Now, how did that happen? That has happened because of simple mistakes that people do when they are not aware about intermittent fasting and how it works and what is to be done for that. Intermittent fasting is a lifestyle habit. It's not a short-term diet. That is the first thing that everyone needs to understand. Second mistake that people do when they are on intermittent fasting is eat all the wrong foods during your eating window. Guys, eating window is your fueling time. If you're going to eat wrong foods, if you're going to eat processed foods like pizzas, burgers, sweets, or foods that are super rich in carbs, if you're going to eat lots of rice, if you're going to eat lots of roti, if you're going to eat all of that, it is just going to give you a big blood sugar spike and then drop. And then in eating window, you're going to be very hungry, you're going to be very cranky, you're going to get a brain fog, and some people, as they complain, they get a lot of headaches and migraines, and that is why they feel intermittent fasting doesn't work for them. That is only because they are not eating the right things in the eating window. When you have your eating window, you should always eat foods which are super rich in proteins, super rich in fiber, super rich in good fats, and all these things which can give you sustainable energy in your fasting window. Other than this, if you are somebody who cannot fast at all, because people do tell me that we have acidity spikes, we feel a lot of acidity and headaches when we fast, so fasting is not for us. All you can do is just space out your meals. So don't do intermittent fasting, but you can at least have 2 large meals and 1 snack in a day, right? That will slowly train your body for a longer gap between meals, and eventually you will be able to get your body on an intermittent lifestyle routine. It's as simple as that, but you have to be very mindful of what you're putting into your body, because more than calories, the quality of the food that you eat is very important, whether it's intermittent fasting or any other diet.
45 minutes of cardio, 45 minutes of strength training, how much liquid are you drinking, how much sleep are you getting.
Now, why did Ram Kapoor combine 45 minutes of cardio with 45 minutes of strength training? We just understood how intermittent fasting works. And now Ram Kapoor chose to do his cardio workouts on an empty stomach fasted state, because his first meal was at 10:30 a.m. He used to do his cardio before that. And do you know that when you do cardio on a fasted state or on empty stomach, you burn more calories and you burn more fat? So this happens because of the same process that is called as gluconeogenesis, which we already discussed in intermittent fasting. So when you do cardio on a fasted stomach, you are burning more fats from your glycogen store, and studies have shown that when you're working out on a fasted state, you burn 20% more fat. And this is well proven science. So guys, a lot of people, a lot of patients of mine always tell me that, you know what, I can't work out on an empty stomach. I have to eat food, or I have to eat a snack. It is fine to eat a snack or eat some food before your workout, but always remember, your body will always choose to burn that snack during your workout and not your stored fat. For example, if you're having an apple and then going for your workout, if you are doing 1 hour workout, you're just burning that apple. You're not actually burning your stored fat. So you would rather make sure that you're working out on a fasted state on empty stomach. And if you have to eat something, or if you need some energy, you can always choose very low glycemic foods like almonds and walnuts or any other nut, because they are very low glycemic, they are rich in fat. or which I always say, you can just have your ghee with black coffee, blend it. That will actually make sure you burn more fat when you're working out, because there is no extra glucose that you're giving to your body. So caffeine will give you the energy boost that you need, it will give you the antioxidants, and ghee will also make you feel satiated. So you will not feel that you're working out on empty stomach, and you will not get any brain fog. So this works beautifully if you're planning to do workout or cardio on empty stomach. It's good, guys, it's not bad, and you just have to get your body used to it, or you have to just adopt your body to it. Second thing that we found out, that he does cardio and weight training on the same day. Now, is that healthy? Strength training is very important and good for your body, same as cardio. Both have very different functions in your body, but you cannot do both on the same day, because if you're doing both on the same day, you're not going to build the kind of muscle that your body needs to build, because for muscle building, rest is as important as strength training. And when you're doing both, your body is exhausted, your body doesn't have the rest or the energy that it needs to put on the muscle, and you're just going to lose out on more muscle. So I would always advise that you do cardio on one day and weight training on a different day, and give a good break in between. So strength training can be done thrice a week and cardio can be done twice or twice a week. I think that is more than enough for your body to put on the right muscle and to burn fat. There are a lot of people who think that if you work out more, you're burning more calories and then you're losing more weight. It never works that way. Exercise is just going to be a 10 to 15% catalyst for your weight loss process. 85% of your weight loss is going to happen from your calorie deficit, from your intermittent fasting, and from the amount of food that you're eating in 24 hours. So if you feel more workout is equal to more weight loss, it never works like that. But it is very important that the kind of weight loss that you're having is the right one, because when you're losing weight, you can lose out on more muscle, and when you lose out on more muscle, you lose out on your metabolic rate. Your metabolic rate is something that tells how many calories your body is burning when you're sitting. So for example, I'm making this video, my body is also burning some calories when I'm doing this activity. If I have a high metabolic rate, I will burn more calories, but if I have less muscle, I will burn lesser calories, and that is exactly what plays a crucial role in a good weight loss. So make sure you're doing strength training at least thrice a week. That will give you more muscle, that will give you more metabolism, and you will always be burning more calories at rest, so that whatever weight you have lost, it never comes back. Your body itself becomes a fat burning machine, and that has to always be your goal. It is also important to address the fact that Ram Kapoor had type 2 diabetes. Now when you have type 2 diabetes, your body is naturally insulin resistant. And when you exercise, your main goal is to make your body insulin sensitive and balance your blood sugar levels better. And when you do cardio, it helps your cardiovascular health, and it helps you balance your blood sugars very well. It also helps you balance your blood pressure really well. But the more important thing here is your weight training. The more muscle you carry, the better insulin sensitivity you have. This is a well-proven scientific fact, and this is why I would suggest to all the people who are watching this video and are diabetic, you need to really focus on your weight training, your muscle training, and gain and put on as much as muscle as you can. Your blood sugar balance will be much better, more naturally, without any medicines.
So I eat only 2 meals a day, one at about 10:30 in the morning and one at about 6:30 in the evening. Nothing in the middle, no snacking at all.
So Ram Kapoor's approach to not have any other snack between the meals other than just coffee or tea turned out actually very positively for him, because that big window between the first meal and the last meal gave him the enough time to burn more calories in that window as well. But we need to keep it in mind that he started from 140 kgs, which also means that he had a lot of stored fat, which helped him have sustainable fasting and sustainable energy. But for a person who does not have that much stored fat, or who does not have that much excess weight, not snacking in between and having 6-7 hours of gap between the meals might be a little difficult, and this might make the fasting window after that also a little difficult. So it is always suggested to have one small snack which doesn't spike your blood sugar level at all. So you can have snacks like makhanas, you can have fresh berries, you can have mixed seeds like pumpkin, sunflower, chia seeds, flax seeds. All these things are low glycemic snacks. At the same time, you can have some Greek yogurt, you can add some nuts to it. All these are healthier snack. If you are someone who feels very hungry or who's working out very regularly, you can also have something like egg whites or egg omelets in between that gives you enough protein and enough snack, and it is low glycemic. All these things really help you sustain your energy level, and it gives you enough nutrition that you need to have that kind of 2 large meal and 1 snack kind of routine. Also, a lot of people crave a lot of sweets during intermittent fasting or when you're spacing out your meals. There's a very simple trick to this. If you're craving something sweet, you need to have something bitter to cut down that taste on your tongue palate. That's how the taste buds on your tongue works. And for that, all you can do is maybe have a small cup of black coffee with some dark chocolate. That will really give you the satisfaction of having something sweet, but you will not continue craving something sweet, and it always works. So do try this. There has been a lot of controversy about Ram Kapoor's weight loss, where people have started commenting that okay, he must have used Ozempic and that is exactly what has helped him lose weight. But let's talk about what is Ozempic also and why it can actually be a good thing for certain people. Now let's take into consideration that Ram Kapoor's weight was 140 kgs and he was type 2 diabetic. You know what this means? It means you have a lot of comorbidities. Comorbidities mean you have a lot of health issues which can affect badly on your heart, on your internal organs, on your liver, and also on your kidneys. So even if he has taken little Ozempic or certain doses to help him with his blood sugar levels, because Ozempic is a drug which is completely recommended for people with diabetes. So even if he's taken that and that has added as a boost for him to follow the diet, to get into the sustainable routine and lose weight, I think it's a good thing, because 140 kgs itself is a different severe disease in itself. So when you're getting away from all of that, Ozempic is a good thing. Where people go wrong with Ozempic is where they use it obsessively to look extremely skinny and they lose all their muscles, and when they're done with that weight loss, the whole weight comes back, and it comes back in such a scary way that you have no muscle left. When you have no muscle left, you're going to put on just pure fat in a span of 3 to 4 months, and you don't know how to lose that fat because you've lost the structure for your body, you've lost the muscle, you've lost the protein. So guys, even if you're on Ozempic or Mounjaro, you need to really take care of your muscle weight. You have to take care of your protein intake. This becomes even more crucial than having Ozempic itself. So getting on Ozempic in the right way is important. If you're on Ozempic, being on a proper nutrition or diet expert is very important. Being with a doctor is important, because you cannot do it just by yourself, because it will backfire on your body in the long run. So this is extremely important and it has to be taken into consideration. Now let's talk about what he did right. Ram Kapoor did not just work on his body, he also worked on his mindset, he worked on his mind, and he has again and again told in so many of his interviews that that is the thing that actually worked for him, because he did lose weight 2 times before this, but that weight came back. He failed. This time, working on mindset has worked really well for him, because he focused on his habits. He focused on things that he could do long term. And this whole approach of all or none, so going all in, and then if you fail even once, then going back to your older habits is never going to work. So having that one unhealthy meal will not backfire as much than you just going all out and eating unhealthy every single day. So as we always say, that follow your 80-20 rule. Be good 80% of the times, 20% be kind to yourself, eat what you want, but make sure you go back to your habits, because it is your habit, it is your lifestyle changes that is going to take you a long way, and that is going to make sure that the weight that you have lost is going to stay off your body and it's not going to come back. This was a celeb diet review on Ram Kapoor's transformation. If you want to know the science behind anybody else's transformation, do put it in the comment section below. We would love to talk about that and cover that in our next videos. Thank you so much. and make sure you're subscribing to our channel and sharing this video with whoever needs to know more about his transformation. And as we always say, it's never just a diet, it's always a lifestyle. So stay healthy, stay fit, stay grateful, and stay blessed.